little
I'll tell you about that in
affirmation
a second.
stuff. Oh, if you want
Not
to talk
affirmations, not like
or just little things.
You are the best at
well,
this.
if you like
not like
physicalize
that.
it or you literalize it, right?
No,
in a note?
like stop touching your hair and your face.
oh, okay.
I say I instead of and that's the worst.
Interesting.
Like, someone will say something to me, and instead of just taking a couple seconds to and then saying something meaningful, I go, yeah, I mean, I won't even be talking about me, but how, like, inadvertently, I make whatever they're saying about me by just habitually saying that. So I say, yeah, and they could be talking about their fucking grandmother's funeral, and I
would argue that for your sake, I feel like you're like looking
right into that fucking screen.
There you go. Okay. See, I was getting comfy. You
were getting.
I wanted to swivel.
You wanted to come up over to tell me.
I feel like this was blocking me.
It's
What
okay.
is this?
Okay.
What is this ice cream cone?
Combo skills.
I know. I feel like that's you almost like empathically or empathetically wanting to relate to someone. Like, yeah, like this is how I'm responding to what you're saying. Like this is my experience of what I think of that. So maybe it's not like, oh yeah, like let's reframe it to like me, but it's maybe like I want to connect with you and show you like the similar life event that reminds me of.
At some point, you're gonna have to admit I'm fucking up tonight. I'm gonna get you on something. It doesn't have to be yet, but no, dude. I fucking. First of all, I am so scared that the conversation will derail with every pause that I need to say something, which is
right. The filler word,
which is selfish because President Obama, he rocked at motherfucking pauses.
He rocked.
He was all pause. It was like half of his speech was negative space. It was the shit. I need to embrace that. And it's okay to just not say something for a second. But I have such a fucking loud mouth that's always open that it is so uncomfortable for me to just let the silence ride out. I think it's unnatural for me, but it's actually a very natural thing.
Yeah,
it just turns out to be unnatural for me to just shut my fucking mouth once in a while.
Well, I love that you have the notes of how self-aware you are, all the little improvements, the tweaks.
There's two. So
okay, keep going. I'm curious now.
Something that Bill Clinton did, and this isn't a Democrat. This isn't a Bill Clinton, or this isn't a Democratic.
Yeah, keep the
stream,
politics out of this,
and
people.
It's not a Republican stream. I'm noting on Bill Clinton's ability to make people feel like they were the most important people. So they say Bill Clinton had an ability to make people feel like they were the most important people in the world if he was addressing you. And everybody desires a skill like that, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like something everybody would want.
Yeah, I've heard a good quote someone said, if you want to be interesting, be interested, right?
Yes.
Like if you're interested, then that just kind of automatically gives you it, like releases that sort of like
absolutely
the effort into it.
Right. And so when somebody's telling you about Game of Thrones or something and you hear a theory or something, I mean, you take a second and go, oh, and that's what interest looks like, so why
taking it in?
So why not practice that when someone is telling you about their crazy trip to the grocery store or something, so I have 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds pausing.
2 seconds pausing if I feel like now. So it's unnatural for some of my friends to talk to each other like that. But if somebody is telling me something serious, instead of saying, yeah, it's time for me to just and carry on with the next thought without saying like or and I think one thing that I need to train my brain to do is I exhaust myself. I did 2 streams on Saturday and I was exhausted at the end of it.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of mental energy just to be
but
so present in the moment.
But
I mean, every second of just like.
I know, but at the same time, that's not something that I like that I can turn off. Like why aren't we always just mentally in the present and thinking,
Right. It's the conditioning of just like
so I'm working
second. Out. Okay.
Then listen to everything, like to everything. And that's the ADD. And like there's tricks like if you find yourself kind of wearing off, I will wiggle my foot because it literally brings your thought to your foot, back to your brain, and puts you back in this chair.
Right. That's
instead
good.
of wandering off.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to hear some of those. I would love to hear it from my own like improv. Like I'll be in the moment. That's right. Listen, keep going.
And then the craziest thing about all these rules is they're all fucking things that you're told when you're 2, right? And just like think before you speak. I seriously wrote that down because
isn't that hilarious that at this point in life it's like, okay, let's go back to square one, because like there's so much distraction in the world that you forget what's the basic sort of building blocks in a way. I totally am with you, man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. I think that I don't know. Well, for me, I think that I shot so many bullets. If my mouth is a gun, it's an Uzi, and it's okay that like in conversations if a couple bullets missed the target. There were so many bullets going on that it didn't really matter. But now that every single sentence is documented, I have to be really
sure. Okay, so precise, like a sniper in your speech.
I don't say any. And this is about we were talking about my life coming full circle. Yeah. I never really got into like inappropriate jokes or made fun of like a certain group of people or like anything. That was never. So I'm not worried about that. It's more just what pains me is to watch these back, which I do, the same way comedians will record themselves and watch their sets.
Yeah, game footage. You like review the game footage. Yes. Like, I should have passed the ball in the third.
Yeah, I will go and watch what I say, and it is so painful for me to have somebody say something that is either 1, meaningful, 2, heartfelt to them, 3, funny. Funny's the worst because I'm in my head not thinking about something, and I've had friends on that just say hilarious shit, and it did not get the fucking, and I can't even cut it for footage because I didn't acknowledge it. And it's like, and it's almost like, yo, how did you not laugh at that joke? Oh, you weren't paying attention.
Right.
And it's so apparent, and you could see it. And
right.
So,
I mean, even the exercise of being an interviewer, there is a skill to like thinking about what the next thing is that I'm going to say, just to kind of make the interview keep going forward longer. So there is kind of like a understanding to like, oh, if I missed like that one thing, then, it's only because I'm prepping like for, I guess they shouldn't say that. I guess to your point, that's not really listening with a capital L. Like,
I didn't even realize that me and you are kind of in the same game right now, dude. I'd never even like categorized you as like this whole time. Dude, I almost read Oprah's book. Like this whole time, like I'm thinking about how to be the best interviewer possible. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. Carnegie.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read that.
I did
7 Habits of Highly Effective, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's on the list. I haven't done it yet. No, the Charisma Myth, which is like the modern, not Stone Age fucking How to Win Friends and Influence People. But
Charisma, yeah.
I haven't even
currency.
Picked your brain ever and come to my buddy for some fucking guidance. You've been
here, baby.
You've been asking people questions for years now.
I've been asking people what are they doing with their lives for so many years, and I feel like this is that Venn diagram now of us intersecting.
Yeah, we're fucking in the middle now. That's fucking crazy, man. Dude, if I could, I have recognized myself as just a student in this thing called life, man, and like, dude. I guess I was thinking of a way we could start this off, and I was thinking like, we'd start about movies coming out, or I would super lax introduce you to the setup. But real quick, my first interview-esque question, what's it like? First of all, when did you decide that you wanted to ask people questions? Like, when did you, of course it's in the vein of film and you've always been into film, but I mean, when did you decide that you wouldn't be a director, you wouldn't be a camera operator, but a review critic? When did that happen?
Yeah, that is a good first question. I like it. I would say,
I want you to critique me too.
Yeah, no, that was
Like,
good.
That's a shit question.
No,
for your
that was a
first
good,
thing.
like, something that I wouldn't expect right off of the bat kind of a question. So, like, I appreciate
What would have been a much more orthodox approach?
I mean, I thought that we might have come in here and kind of started with the traditional, what are your favorite movies and why, and what's, have you seen?
Was there a
recently?
problem with the way I decided to do it?
No, on the contrary, I feel like that was the more intellectually kind of like interesting question that it is more personal
I
for
think
sure.
As an artist, I don't think I have like, I don't know. You still couldn't ask me what my favorite band is or my favorite artist or anything.
Oh,
I feel like
yeah,
that. I mean, there's days where I'm, fucking feeling a certain way. You came in today and I had like Vegas dance music on, and then like we kicked fucking Pedro the Lion.
Yeah.
I think that my tactic in asking you was just trying to figure out the psychology of why I went right to
No,
him.
yeah, and I'll go back to responding to that question because that is a great question.
Yeah, I should probably stop running my mouth. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm not sure if it was ever like a conscious decision that I wanted to like ask people questions like so specifically like that was kind of the main draw. It probably was just one aspect to just the whole world of movies and entertainment reporting that just came with it. And just being so interested, I guess it just kind of it's a curiosity. Like everyone in the world, I guess, has that curiosity. I guess mine most specifically is to people working in entertainment. Like that specifically is interesting to me because of I guess essentially like understanding the artistic process from actors, filmmakers, points of view, that plus going to the press days and getting put up at like going to the press days for any sort of press junket or something, and they have free food is always a draw for sure. A nice continental breakfast on a Saturday morning or something.
That's not why you do it though.
No, it's a perk. That's on top of it.
I have a question. Well,
I will say that I don't feel like I've checked closed the door on
straight
like
up just
why
interrupted you, by the way.
No, this is what we're doing. We're ping pong. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't closed the door on like directing with a capital D, like those aspirations. If that's kind of what I'm currently not doing right now, it's like I'm conscious of it, but I don't feel like I've kind of put those limitations on myself just yet. I think that where my interests lie probably aren't in like telling those stories. I'm still kind of like taking all of that in for, who knows, maybe one day like the output or something.
Right.
But yeah, reviewing movies and asking people questions, I guess entertainment reporting offers just like, it's an aspirational thing. It's like, wow, like what are these people doing that I can learn from, right? Like what we're doing.
That's so cool that you're able to do that in a student state of mind. I'm super competitive and I have a hard time not being like, oh, I gotta go get going on my fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't ask this guy about that. So I fucking appreciate that. So it's not that because when I had first met you, you were outgoing, but not reserved, but
I think reserved would be putting it lightly. I think that first moment of you meeting me I was the first kid. The first day of school, probably like halfway through the semester, going from 8 years of private school into public school, from the teacher just telling me, hey, they're watching a movie, go sit in the middle of the class, like that open table.
What a dick, by the way. What a dickhead.
Mr. Drake. My gosh.
Mr. Drake,
you're out there.
You could have definitely have been like, hey guys, this is Ryan. Hey Ryan, why don't you take this seat just right here? Everybody scoot over. And you
that would have been hell for me. All those eyeballs, the whole commotion of, okay, everybody get up and make a commotion.
Well, it was just, why didn't you fucking show up in between classes? Why did you show up in the middle of class? You should have just like.
Well, because I went through like I think I arrived to school on time and I was in like the office filling out paperwork and like kind of doing that sort of handoff exchange. And by the time it's like 11:25, the principals or the supervisor's like, oh, I guess you should be in English class now, so just go to that classroom and walk on in. Like, I'm probably like the 10th thing on her to-do list that day, like get this kid into class. I'm sure that she's just like, okay, it's or he is. I can't.
I would have been mortified.
Yeah. I mean, luckily there was like a TV, there was a movie going on. So like, it wasn't like me interrupting this lecture or something. But no, back to the point. I was like passing through the class, through the little walkway of desks to get to the open desk, right? I remember it was you. I remember Carrie Proto sitting next to you.
KP.
I'm trying to remember who else was around there, but like as I was passing through that hallway, I do remember this sort of, and how am I going to portray this on camera? It's kind of this lean, and it was like, not that dramatic, people. It was a lean. It was a modest lean, and it was an inquisitive.
It wasn't
hey.
Modest.
It was a, hey, like, what's your name? That was it. It was, hey, what's your name? I go, Ryan, with probably like the thumbs between like the backpacks shivering or whatever. And you're like, cool. And then I kept on walking, and then I found my seat, and that was that meeting. But I mean, look at you, man. From that moment, that was you being an inquiring mind, inquisitive. You're so comfortable with yourself that you can, ask the question of, hey, let me go outside of myself and check out what this little like thing is, or like be outside in this environment. And like, that's a gift. That's a quality.
I think I genuinely got excited that like I could have, I think El Segundo was so small and just kind of, I don't know. I think I got excited that I could have potentially had a new friend. So I was like, oh,
right.
Yo, what's your fucking name?
Yeah. It's an opportunity. It's not something that's a threat or not me.
Yeah. No, it was, I thought you gave off a good vibe, and I was like, oh, for sure. What's this kid's name? Like, and I didn't have problems with people. So I knew for sure we'd be buddies, but I just wasn't going to like, I don't know. I'm too stupid to do anything tactical. So I was just like, hey man, let's be friends now. Like, what's your name? Right on. Cool. I'm Drew. Let's fucking. And then it was just, and then the project happened, and I was like, cool, we're going to be partners in a project now. And then it was chill.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man. And then what a ride, dude.
Yeah, we pretty much just like tackled high school together in so many ways. It's kind of like whether it was like us, like intersecting like from day one to like senior year, it was probably like little moments of like, us kind of doing our own thing. And then, but like always, stemming from that 8th grade sort of meeting and friendship going into, I think it was like freshman into sophomore year was probably when we really started to like get to like hang out and be friends.
Yes, because freshman year I was kind of tied up. I was on surf team, doing really stupid stuff, dude. I was like wearing baggy clothes, trying to impress my brother. It was a weird time, dude. I like was wearing sandals to school and shit. Like
weird times as a freshman. What?
Yeah, no, it was really weird because it was the first time in my entire life I was going to school with my older brother. And he was on surf team, so I tried to be super surf team. I tried to be as surf team as possible.
Yeah.
And
I mean, but you got a joy out of it, right? Like
it did nothing for me. It did absolutely nothing for me. It was like confusing because I didn't understand why me and my brother weren't close. I thought, I was like, dude, I'm doing all the right things, man. I'm like dressing, I'm in surf team, I'm surfing. Like I can surf, dude. Like why aren't we cool? And it was just, I don't know. It was his problem. It was his deal. So I said, okay. So then I fucking went back to Drew shit, got in a band, started wearing black, and that's when I got really, really seen.
Right.
But, I laugh, and people like, yeah, man, I remember, like, you used to wear chick pants and, like, had tiger stripes in your hair and blah, 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 blah. But I had never felt more like me. I mean, I went to school in, like, a fucking Hurley track jacket, baggy Volcom pants, and sandals and shit, and I felt way more like me in the chick pants, tiger striped hair.
Yeah,
I never felt more like me, and as soon as that was the first time in my life, I was like, dude, this is who I am, and I never let go of that again.
The clothes make the man. Yeah.
I had a little ghetto phase, like when I was 18.
Yeah, I remember you were like had like a windbreaker with the fur, right? Like
yeah, no, but that thing was that was seen. That was scene style.
Oh, okay. It was hinging on.
Yeah, but I was 220 pounds. Like, I was dating Lindsay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I got really.
high school.
I got really heavy there.
Yeah.
I love that I could just drop this name on my fucking my 132 follower motherfucking channel. Suck it. No, dude. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago, which is a lifetime.
Yeah, we're not saying last names. We all have a.
No, I need to not drop names, but yeah, but it's you and we're us and fuck, dude.
Yeah, man. And so hey, there's where the journey has led us to.
Yeah, I if you ever see this, I really hope you're well.
Yeah, sure. We're all adults.
Dude, there is one thing that I regret in our friendship, and it was when I tried to convince you to do acid with me that one night. Do you remember that? You were.
I honestly don't.
Good.
I don't.
Good, because I had done it. I picked it up and it was in my pocket, and I was hanging out with you, and I convinced you to do it, and you were down, and then you were like, you ended up not being down.
I might have thought like, oh, is this what the Beatles did? Like, I probably.
You said that, and I was like, yeah, dude, you're gonna be like the Beatles, but
I think I remember that time frame. Was it like sophomore, junior year, maybe?
You may or may not have been house sitting.
Oh, well then, let's, yeah. Well, okay. It might have been more recent than that. No,
dude. No, it was definitely after.
You're going to have to tell me. I legitimately do not remember. We'll refrain from saying which house exactly so I can keep my professional house sitting business dealings on the side. I'm still open for business.
Neither of us have a life tomorrow, so let's just watch it burn.
But you're saying, going back to like you said that you feel bad that you tried to convince me to do it.
Yeah, man, it's just drugs are really bad, and like I think that like I have a lot of tendencies that I do, maybe inadvertently because I exposed myself to hallucinogenics like at 19 years old. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
especially nothing bad.
Stories.
But, you know, it also could be that I missed out on 10 years of my life being high all the time that I could have spent like reading and like excelling my vocabulary and shit. Yeah, that's one thing that I wish. I really am going to work my ass off to be more articulate. I would love to be more articulate. I look up to it now. I listen to like public speakers and I'm in whoa.
Yeah, it is
powerful.
an art. I feel like now I need to be more conscious of the sort of NPR sort of volume that I need to speak and the conversation.
No, I have to project my fucking voice, and these streams are always quiet. So you go ahead and just.
Well, no,
talk.
but I guess just going back to what you were saying, like I don't feel like. I mean,
I made some decisions, and I'm not sure what decisions led me to those decisions, and I wasn't happy for a second.
Do you think that it was like curiosity? This is like the real world. Is this all there is? Like I kind of like.
Wait, what do you mean curiosity for what?
Curiosity for more, for just what the unknown is. I mean, like you probably are operating.
In what time frame? Doing acid or
probably
this recently?
Probably like acid, early days, hallucinogenics.
I don't know who you're asking. Like, are you asking 19, 18-year-old Andrew? Are you just looking for more? Or are you asking me right now?
I guess maybe asking you if you could look back on it, like what do you think you were kind of thinking? I mean, hey, if we're gonna ask anyone what they think they were thinking to make decisions,
I think
in high
I was
school,
just thinking fun drugs. It wasn't anything. I was excited to. It was like a boredom. It was kind of like a. I don't really know, man. I don't really know what I was running from. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I think that I've always struggled with, and you'll laugh at this. I've always struggled with like a kind of a sense of like a kind of a self-identity crisis, which is something laughable because I feel like I've always been I've always been like kind of extravagant with myself, right? And I've always been like, no, like, I don't know. I feel like I've always liked the same type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but I had felt that there was an identity crisis. I think because yeah, man, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. It could have been like cuz family, was weird for a while. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I got a hold when the opportunity was afoot. I think half of it was just being, just tea and eggs, piss and vinegar. And then the other half was, it probably was a lot of piss and vinegar. It wasn't until I didn't have this serious like identity crisis till like fucking graduated, and I owed the fucking government $50,000, and it was like, go be a professional graphic designer, and you're like, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah, sold a
Yeah.
bill of goods there.
Yeah, I don't really know, man. It could have been anything.
Sure, but one thing has remained, and it's that punk spirit of just like, I'm whatever it is I want to get into, and not saying that it's like all equally just across the board. Like, I feel like it's always with the same sort of like, oh, I'm just gonna, I am confident enough with myself that I'm gonna take it on and be the thing, and be that, and learn to do that, and have that skill set and quality. So like, it's probably that same just like fearless spirit of like, yeah, I like, even if I have like a kind of crisis of identity of like who I am or whatever, it's like, that's not going to stop me from like at least getting into all the things that just kind of give me that sort of interest. And then
I don't understand that. I've never been able to, like, when I was younger, I couldn't go door to door to sell shit.
Oh, really?
You know, but I don't understand why people are afraid of trying new stuff. I've never understood that. I never understood, like, being the new guy, trying something out, like signing up for a gym, being the new guy at a gym, showing up to a yoga class. Like, I don't understand why people, and maybe that's why I do so much, is because there's the disconnect where I think it's way scarier to fucking just let those classes just fucking go by, and then all of a sudden you're 50 and you never tried kickboxing, you know, and you're fucking, and you're done. Your joints are done. You know what I'm saying? You can't take a kick to the leg anymore. You can't play volleyball anymore. You can't. That's terrifying to me.
Right.
Being in front of people where I can make a couple of friends, and honestly, I have a pretty good idea that I can make somebody laugh. Like, anytime I go do something social, I'm like, okay, well, like, I'll be able to joke around with somebody, you know, and I'll make a friend out of this.
Yeah.
And because of that, the same way I was like, yo, what's your name? Ryan? Cool. And you were like, this guy's going to be my buddy. And I was like, this guy's going to be my buddy. I do that everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You happen to turn into one of my best friends. I don't want you to feel like you're just another fucking name. You're just another Ryan.
Oh, I don't. I know. Yeah. For all you other Ryans out there,
you're the Ryan.
You have competition.
Yeah, dude. But I think it's way scarier to live your life afraid than it is to fucking, you know, go hang out with a bunch of people who are just as fucking confused as you. You know what I'm saying? At what point, like, you go to one class right now where somebody in there isn't like insecure about the way they're performing, you know, and is probably super glad that you're there, because they probably feel like that pressure is now off of them, even if it's for 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we all feel the same shit, no matter how we all handle it differently.
Yeah.
But we all feel the same shit.
Yeah, for sure. That's the same driver for sure.
I forget who. There's somebody, it's like a rock star or something, but forgot who. Or a comedian. Somebody big time would throw up before they went out on stage. They're shaking. Every show.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. And then you just make it happen. And that make it happen, people don't understand that make it happen mentality is a bicep curl that you do every day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that bicep is strong, you know, but you still have to do the curls or else you can't do it anymore.
Isn't that absolutely. Isn't that like the worst kind of like, when you hear people like rock stars and comedians and people, I mean, speakers, whoever in whatever field, they all say that like, and I still get the anxiety and I still get the nerves. Isn't that just like, oh man, like really? You didn't just like beat it? You didn't just like happen to master the quality of Zen-like
you're
kind
afraid
of presentation?
you're afraid that like it sucks that it seems like you never get over that.
Right.
Desolate, I love you. Thank you. Yeah. I do think I think that sucks, but I don't know. I think that just like a muscle, I think you learn to need that. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people would argue that they're glad that never happens because that would endorse complacency, you know? And it's why comedians are writing another act. You know, it's why, you know, Ryan Gosling needs to put out another movie after Place Beyond the Pines. Place Beyond the Pines was amazing. you know,
Oh,
but he
man.
still made movies.
Yeah.
And it's because the one thing, trying to think about this without sounding way too far-fetched here.
No, I'm here. I'm into it.
Okay.
Let me shimmy it. Okay, now I caught it.
I think that you can condition yourself to be temporarily prepared.
Yeah.
But the true artist will always remain uncomfortable because they will always have a need to force adaptation on themselves. You know what I'm saying? A true artist is never comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Art is not comfortable.
And
you have to acknowledge the uncomfortable.
Right, because repetition is not very artistic. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to.
There's
I almost lost myself there. So I'm.
No.
If I'm not
I'm
making
with
sense,
you. No, that
I'm
you're saying that the
I almost said some
repetition
crazy
isn't
shit.
artistic. It's not conscious. It's not like motivated. Like there's no reason. There's no like kind of thought behind it. And art is just like thought in kind of like literal form. Like
Right.
the fact that anyone makes art, that we as humans like feel so inclined to weld or paint or whatever to express, like shows that we're like trying to manifest like the actual expression or emotion. And yeah, that's so far beyond routine. I guess you could routinely do anything, but
Right.
art by its nature doesn't seem like it has routine part of its definition.
Right.
So yeah, to live artfully, I guess, is to live kind of differently and consciously. And are we still talking about the same thing? Did I take it to the different one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think like to live artistically is to live in a state where adaptation is a necessity, right? It's like, right? Because the true artist is always evolving,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah.
That's
shedding
why
the skin,
records,
shedding the layer.
That's why records don't sound the same for bands.
They
you know?
shouldn't.
That's
Well,
how.
yeah. Are there any good?
Yeah, well, they progress. I mean, the classic rock kind of eras. Okay, perfect example. Well, it's not a perfect example, but it's an example. Black Flag, one of the biggest renowned bands. A lot of people don't know this. The record after Slip It In, which is a great fucking Black Flag record, one of the classics. They have a record that has 6 tracks of spoken word on it, and then like this really psychedelic, funky instrumental music.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I think. Yeah, I don't know.
When you say spoken word, is it
I can
like
play,
kind
I'll
of
play it
yep?
for you.
Okay,
this
yeah.
Is, this is what this is all about.
Perfect.
I'll play it for you right now. And then try and think about how far we drifted, because I feel like we're drifting.
Oh, we're drifting, but isn't that fun? That's what I like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to hear the 25 speed dating questions.
But what was the original question so we could try and tie it back on? And we were like, oh, isn't it bad? Isn't it too bad when you find out that artists still feel that?
Yeah.
Oh, I hold on. What if that is because if you're evolving and you remain comfortable, anything that is evolving is, I think that nervous feeling is a side effect of that, right? Because you're stepping into the unknown with your evolution. You never evolve into something that's already been done.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's
I
your
don't know, dude.
Yeah,
We're fucking
yeah.
getting groovy. Okay, check it out. Listen to this. Listen how dark this is.
Do you want the family man or do you want the swinging man? You choose.
Family man.
You get the family man. Family man. Family man. Family man. With your glances my way, taking no chances on the new day. Family man. Family man with your life all planned. Your little sandcastle built, smiling through your guilt. Family man. Here I come. Here I come, family man.
Yeah.
Little
I come to
headphone
infect.
left-right audio.
I come to rape your woman. I come to take your children into the street. I come for you, family man. Family man, with your Christmas lights already up.
I don't know.
You're such a man when you're putting up your Christmas lights.
Yeah,
First on the block.
that's like spoken poetry right there.
Try, but I can't seem
So it keeps coming back to
Right, but then the end of the but the first the record before that. Which is a classic song by Black Flag, My War. But then they go to yeah, and there's a interview
Killer.
with Henry Rollins famously saying that like everything should be speed date. JK, what the fuck is this? Family man, family man.
If you just
it's the record
this.
after My War by Black Flag. I was demonstrating an artist forward movement. And it's not to say there's something to be said about what people find more appropriate, although it's still progressive, which means it's showing forward movement. Whether or not people like it have nothing to do with the artist revolution, right? Because like almost people not agreeing with it should almost also be a side effect of the evolution of an artist, right?
Sure, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
It sounds natural, right?
Yeah,
That
if
not
you're staying
everybody's
honest to your whatever, if you're your code or whatever you just want to do, like that honesty probably is going to mean that it's more I don't know, it's just more charged, or like it's just I hear this and I hear something that is, he doesn't give 10,000 fucks if anyone likes this song or whatever, because it's not even a song. It just sounds like emoting. I'm getting across this emotion and I want you to hear it. I want you to hear what I am saying in this specific way.
He's a nutcase. What percentage of this conversation do you think makes sense? How we doing? Yeah, makes sense. Are we doing it?
You really had to start from the first couple seconds.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I hope we watch this back and we said some real shit, but I'm worried that we got way too.
How much of the self-awareness do you think? I mean, it's probably just because of like the interviews that you've done previously, and I hope that
I don't care. I don't care. Like I don't care. This could be a one hot ball of what the. I
will be the first person to just take some weird philosophical germ of something and just keep mushing it around until we're just talking about
no, I'm fucking into
the
that
extreme.
Let me put on that.
So you keep me on course.
Yeah, no,
I would do the same.
I think
fantastic.
So long as I remain honest, I think that's like the only guidelines for the stream. Like, I think that's the only thing that would bother me, is that if I said something that was dishonest, which I mean, I don't see a reason why I would do that, but I don't have a problem with this stream going in any direction so long as it's honest. I think that's the only thing that would be like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Is if I was dishonest, but.
Right. And you say, like, in your looking for the honesty, is it like, I want to hit something or like get something with every person in that chair? Like, no. I want to learn something, like that's where the honesty kicks in.
No, I want to be honest about like me. I have a problem being like, oh yeah, and then high school happened and like blah 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 blah. That doesn't do my story justice. I am doing this. I get so excited about doing this stream because it puts me in a position of transparency.
Right.
3 hours is hard to be somebody you're not, and you don't have a choice but to be yourself, and I think that I owe it to anybody who's willing to take the time to listen to this, to be super honest about the drugs I've done, the decisions I've made, because I don't know. I'm not some fucking cookie cutter TV show host. That's not what this was. This is a camera into my home, where I can speak honest and freely with the people that I care about, or my new friends, or people I haven't really met before who, like me and my buddy who's been on, who I had the Game of Thrones talk on with. He's fucking awesome. We've hung out like, maybe one time before, and we're fucking really enjoying hanging out with each other. But you were saying Whew,
I don't even remember
the track is wet, dude. The tires are slipping tonight. You were saying that what was it?
Well, I was just,
why
I guess,
I was being honest.
kind of just ambiguously asking you
damn.
about honesty, and that's not really a place to kind
Yeah,
of
I
dig
have
the heels
I have
in,
dude. I've said things that here you go. Here's an example right here, dude. I've said things to people for sure, and I do it habitually. I say things to people to make them laugh that aren't necessarily true, and it's just like little anecdotes, little stories, like little ideas in my head that I think are funny, and be like, yeah, man, like one time, blah 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 blah, and I get a couple laughs, and that's it. Never happened, and that happens sometimes, and I kind of like, but it was just my intentions were to make people feel good, you know, and I thought that I would be able to. I trusted that what I would say would be funny enough to the point where my dishonesty was worth it. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be honest about being dishonest on here. You know what I'm saying? Because like, it's important, especially as this comes off as like I'm traveling down this super positive path in my life. That I told you right when you came in and sat on that couch that the last thing I want is a Jesus complex. As a matter of fact, you could be a fucking smoker every day. You know, you could be in the bathroom at the bars doing blow. You could be somebody like that and turn your shit around, man. You know what I'm saying? You could be dishonest to people to just make them laugh. You know, you don't have to fucking be that person forever. That's my intention. That's why I want to be fearlessly honest on here, because it's easy for me to just be honest with you, but it's hard, you know, when you're confronted by, you know, confrontation. This isn't confrontation for me. This is my chance on the offensive to be brutally honest so that it never has to come back on the defensive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're owning it. You're owning this, and you're making that part of the story
on
and
my
who
push.
You are.
On my terms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot to hide. It's just like little things like that. Like I've said dishonest things to people to try to make them laugh.
So I'm curious, and I would love to just like extract this from your answer. Like, what to you is the ideal version of you? What is it like that you would hope to be like at this moment, or like that you want either people to think of you or you to think of yourself? Like, if it's, I mean, does it kind of stem from, I guess, just honesty, or like,
is it like what I would change about myself right now? Again, I was God and could fix it, or
not even change? I mean, what is, like, if you were to like direct a movie in the way I spoke, like if
what's my ending? Like, how does this movie end for me?
You know, like, how about just like in this present moment? Like, because I have an answer probably for me of like what I would think like the ideal version of myself would be.
And when you say ideal, do you mean ideal in terms of like, I don't know, like
ideal, like goals, and I'm hitting them, aspirations, and I'm kind of living through that, working, kind of staying on that course. Because I guess that's my question. Like, is there something that's driving you?
I wish that I had time for my girlfriend. I wish that I could do all the things that I want to do, like work my ass off and like run my ideal Andrew is super athletic, does not say fucking no to a challenge, which I'm pretty there on right now, is donating money every month to a different charity, is making people laugh relentlessly. Now, I can't use relentlessly because I don't want to fib stories and stuff, but you have to understand that it was a comedy routine. Every chance was a comedy routine. You go ask a fucking comic how much of his shit he says is true. None of it's true.
That's why they're comedians. They hide that because they entertain.
It's a bit, man. It's a bit. Like, you told me something and I'm regurgitating it back to you to make it laugh.
Yeah.
And when I do that, it's like, maybe, I don't know.
So you've almost like you want to make people laugh, but you've almost outgrown that sort of like that face or that mask of comedian.
I walk away from those conversations like, you never did that. You never fucking did that, fool. And I don't know why. And it's hard for me, like, because I don't want to perform, dude. That's not what I want to do.
There you go.
I want to be funny in conversation. You know, I want to make people laugh, talking about the food they chose to eat. Or like, damn, you were in those shoes again. I don't know, anything, you know. I want to be recognized. I don't know.
Yeah, you've already, and the things that you said, you listed off, bulleted out, like, these are the things that I would want to be my ideal version of myself. Like, you're already doing them. Like, that's the hilarious part. Like, you're already being that, like, ideal self. So it's probably just like, oh yeah, I am.
I am, but it doesn't feel like I am. Okay, so I guess what I get excited about, though, and thank you for making this whole stream about me, by the way. We have your fucking logo down there. Down there.
Oh, yeah. This is the quality stuff you'll get.
Yeah.
And that's because I put it on other people. That's my, that's my.
Am I doing a bad job
zen.
not returning the questions to you? Are you asking me questions in hopes that somebody, because everybody likes answering a survey about themselves.
No,
but
you're, first of all, I hope that I'm not steering it any. I hope I'm
love
not giving
this.
you a wrong answer that like you're looking for. But
No.
I also
I love it.
I like that, like, we're having a conversation, but that you're also conscious of, like, I want to make this. I know that this is going to be a recorded event. I know that people are watching, and, like, I want, within this time frame, I want us to have something that, like, is something that we're discussing, like, of kind of value and worth.
No, this is of value and worth. I mean, I don't care, dude. Like, at the same time, I never wanted this to be a position where, first of all, I have to be a little selfish. That's my fucking name up there. You know, I'll fucking do whatever I want. I just happen to want to do a lot of positive and have people on and this and that. But I will shut this motherfucker down at any given moment. Okay, so like if my friend comes in and they're fucking upset about something and they want to complain about their girlfriend for fucking 2 hours instead of talking about their jiu-jitsu tournament that they just had on, suck it, everybody. I'm gonna listen to I'm gonna let my friend fucking vent about his girlfriend or whatever. You know, like,
Sure. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So there's no there's no rules. There's no like. There's not anything. What my concern is that I'm flattered by these questions and you displaying that you have an interest in the way I feel about things. And I guess I've spent so much time recently trying to display an interest in other people that it feels nice to have these questions asked to me, number one. But I am more concerned with, am I doing a bad job of reciprocating those questions back to you? Like, are you asking me those questions in hopes that I would ask, like,
that it gets somehow
back
conversation
to you, like,
winds back.
Am I doing a bad job not saying, how do you feel about that? Like,
Uh-huh.
am I doing a bad job of that right now? That's a question.
Well, I would say no, only because I feel like I am so actually curious about like the evolution of this stage of this part of your life, because I, aspire to a lot of these little things, a lot of these things that you're doing, like in a lot of ways. It's all working. It's all good. So I want to keep asking you these.
Keep going.
So you're gonna have to.
I like it because I have
questions.
I have questions too, because at the same time, I also feel a little bit of, why doesn't everybody wake up every day and go, I'm gonna fuck today up? I don't understand that. And for me, my relationship with weed had kept me from that. So this is my relationship with weed, because this is important. It got to the point where I was smoking a pea-shaped amount, and it would give me anxiety, but I needed it. I needed it. I didn't even like smoking it. I just needed it in my body. Yeah. It was really weird.
Your body grew addicted to what became that anxiety.
Yeah, I felt safe in that anxiety, which is so stupid because I hated it. I hated it.
Can I go on the record and just really quickly say that I definitely think that my high school, college-y, whatever, like pot smoking days are behind me, because I can't, like, in all good faith and honesty, like, smoke weed and not get anxious now. It really is something I feel like I've gotten to the other side of, like, that's it's something that I think it has tool and like kind of value and can do things. But once it starts becoming that like kind of crutch or the thing that's like, oh, this is yeah, this is it's I've lived through its purpose, its usefulness.
Yeah.
It can be a bad thing. I can't do it. I can't be like the guy like who's like at a party and someone has like a joint and they're like, hey, do you want to come like, hit this joint? I can't be at a party casual and just like,
I never could
do it
though.
and then just also yeah, and be like functioning and having a conversation. That's the worst to me.
It's hard for me.
Yeah,
And
alone, it's just like it doesn't jive.
It's really weird. Like my mentor is Joe Rogan. Like the way he can hold his podcast, the way he's able to hold conversation,
Right.
his ability to want to fuck every day up. Every day is a chance to go fuck some shit up. But the more I do this, the farther I am branching off him, which is really wild for me, because like the podcasting is something that I learned to love by myself.
Right.
I like started listening to them at work, and I was like, forever I wanted that. I was like, well, what if I can just create this circle of friends that are always on this show, and we do everything from we play video games against each other to mixing drinks to reading their poetry to all this, and it kind of evolved into this.
Yeah.
And it's crazy now because one of his big things is like, yeah, fucking smoke weed. And I'm like, man,
Oh, Joe Rogan says that?
Yeah.
Does he?
He's huge stoner, fucking hallucinogens, microdose on mushrooms. He's like a total trip. But that generation, I don't know. I think for some reason, I have this theory that the people who started smoking at like in the developmental teen stages, I think like there's like a fuse that fucking isn't like, because the older folks, they fucking love the weed that's out right now. They love it. Moms and dads can smoke the fuck out of weed right now. The strongest shit. My dad's
They're
down
like,
to be
what?
like,
Where was this when I was a kid?
my dad's down to be like roofied. Like my dad is down to get fucked up. And like to his credit, he loves it. He says that, oh man, I could just turn my brain off, and he's able to be so present. Maybe the older generation does a way better job of being present than we do. Maybe because they grew up, their developmental years, they were less stimulated by, outside stimuli, like cell phone,
the digital age that we're living in. Dude, certainly.
Even I had AOL Instant Messenger, and that was the fucking future, brother.
Yeah, we were the last generation to live in the pre-internet era, and then like also,
I still think that we're kind of internet era we might be the first internet generation era, like, because we
are, yeah,
we
first
saw
adapters.
that divide.
Yeah, exactly. Of like, what is this broadband sort of thing? Like, what is this? Is this a computer game? Is it like a ROM? But like, the last kids to just kind of like play with, be imaginative outside of that. I do think that's an interesting theory about like, previous generations and their relationship to like picking up, I don't know, maybe to picking up weed or something. What's interesting? I feel like our generation is.
I'm gonna read your comment. Just a question. Just
great.
a second, Desolate. No, go ahead, Ryan.
Is that? Oh, you're talking. Okay. I feel like our generation, because we have so much information at our disposal, I think we're almost going through something of a like resurgence in like mindfulness and self wellness.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the new kick that people are on, and not to say that everyone is, because there's always going to be like sectors of people who are, getting into any sort of I don't know, group or whatever. But I feel like the self wellness and like the introspectiveness of how people are living these days is really catching on, and you're seeing that through like new wellness things like yoga, mindfulness, there's meditation apps like every day, it seems like. There's like, everyone needs to, Oprah says to like breathe for 10 minutes every day, and like that's becoming so like part of our way of life now, that I feel like people are more open to like shedding the things that don't serve anymore. Like so many people now are doing sobriety kind of months and stuff, like a month of I'm not gonna have drink or something, and it's like it seems to be this like level of mental clarity that we're living in that's exciting, that seems like people want to keep developing and evolving like to a just a new consciousness. It's like I already know what that is. I want to see what else is out there, because I don't know, maybe we just know that there's more to that we're physically capable of using every sort of mental faculty, physical faculty like at our disposal.
I think that we as a species really, and I hate saying we as a species, but I really think that in society, I think that we've reached a capacity. And I think that I think the way technology has developed, I think brings on a natural sense of negativity with it. I think that it's easy for instant gratification. I think that instant gratification, I think that breeds negativity. I think as people are doing things that are disingenuous, they are doing things that maybe aren't true, are doing things that are maybe vain. And because of that, I think the reason you see so much self-help, sobriety, I think people are looking for an outlet for kind of this, because we're at capacity. We can't take it anymore. So now it's we need to start cutting out things because we all feel it. Dude, I don't know about you, but if I get carried away and I'm on my phone and I'm flipping in like 40 minutes, which can happen so quick, just kind of like, and you're checking everything, right? Back to Twitter, back to Facebook, back to Instagram, back to Facebook, back to Twitter, back to
news stories.
Dude, I feel like you were smoking cigarettes for a second. You know when you have too many cigarettes over and over and over again and you're just like
lightheaded?
Not lightheaded, but just kind of like, like toxic. That's the same. I feel like there's something under the surface that's happening, taking in all of this information. And it could be us going against our natural. I think that maybe, just speculating here, I think that human beings are animals. And I think when we hear people's stories and stuff, I think we're supposed to be emotionally connected to them. I think that we're supposed to, because they were people in our tribe, right? In history, you'd be, hearing about someone's day in your tribe, and you have an emotional connection. You go get food with this person. You share food with them. You know their family, right? It's in your tribe.
Right.
But now this tribe is so big.
Right.
That it's tribeless, and I think that goes against human nature. And I think, and I'm speculating, I think that that's what we feel when we go through our Instagram feed and we see 600 people in their day and how they feel about this fucking watermelon they just bought and these new shoes and this fucking concert they're going to, and nobody gives a shit about 600 people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gives a shit.
We haven't been wired that way.
You care about people generally speaking, but you don't care. You don't love, but you love people, but you don't, and that's just because naturally they're from another tribe, but you have access to their information now.
Yeah.
And it breaks the borders between tribes.
Yeah.
And that's an unnatural phenomenon for wolves in their packs.
Yeah.
For orangutans in their groups, for humans in their tribes. It's unnatural to be fed in this much data.
Yes.
And I think that is I think that's that feeling of toxicity when you flip through the thing. I think it's data overload, it's tribe overload, if you will. So people are doing things, well, this tribe's not getting any fucking smaller, so what can we cut out? Let's meditate. Let's leave our phones at home. Because that will keep the borders back up between the tribes. Let's cut out the booze and alcohol because that shit's not helping. And people are finding, and in a world that is so disconnected, people are doing these restorative yogas and meditation and things to find connections within themselves and the things that are immediate to them. And that's what I believe is happening right now. That's my speculation.
I'd give you the $64,000 check. I feel like that's like, I feel like you hit it, that connection.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. At the same time I do all this, I wake up in the morning and I take some time to think. I do try the meditation thing.
Do you journal? Do you
Yeah, I mean, like, I got a whiteboard. I'd like to write down some goals. That's the next move on that, is write down goals. But yeah, I don't necessarily journal just because I haven't been, but I just try to handle everything. I try to get everything sorted out. Let me take a second to address Desolate Slayer, who was cool enough to comment some shit. Desolate, I'm going to read your jams right now. So let's see. Family man. I was watching videos about AI machine learning before this, and if we made a humanoid robot, it would have died of drug addiction a million times over. Oh shit.
Oh no.
It's actually really crazy when we do something as simple as identifying colors. It's not actually something easy and simple for other organisms. We can only do this through millions of years of evolution. And we can watch these machines learn how to do something without any human intervention. It takes them a long time to learn. The way they learn is really close to how real-life organisms would learn step by long step. You could watch many lifetimes of learning in the matter of minutes. Yeah, and I think that's one thing is, as far as AI goes, I mean, that is the most fundamentally calculated method of doing anything, right? Is something that is programmed into where I could, one, persuade you to do something a different way, which is very human of me, or you could convince yourself not to do it, which is very human of you, ask that big 3-letter word, why, that's the most human thing that we could do. Why am I looking at this? Why am I? So yeah, that's very, that's interesting. The overdose on drugs a million times over. That's
I used to think that like self-driving cars were going to be the answer to everything, but now that little comment makes me feel a little uneasy. Maybe my car has a death sentence to it. Maybe it feels like it wants to kind of drive a little too fast that day. Maybe my car wants to, intake its petroleum to an unhealthy degree. And the AI of that is frightening now. So
have you heard the saying that human beings are the reproductive organs of the machines?
Say that again. That
human beings is the reproductive organs of machines.
Oh, so in the same way that
yeah, think about
like
that.
we are the reproductive.
Like we're creating
parts.
We are
that create this beautiful, microphone internet.
And
world we live in.
What's so crazy is there's like I forget the term is when you go into a black hole. It's horizon.
Oh, okay.
The
horizon
thing.
points or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's where you are now in the gravitation of the black hole. There's no fucking hope for you. You are now part of the black hole.
Yeah, you're almost just
nothing could change that.
Mm-hmm.
There is a point of that with AI, right? There's going to be a point where
point of no return.
A point where, somebody is like, we see it in sweatshops. It's like, oh, this kid's gonna work for 50 cents a fucking day. You can't do that. Yeah, you're right. We can't do that. Keep that fucking kid on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like that's a demonstration that we can't handle it. That this shit isn't handled. And one of the biggest, who one of the biggest arguments are truck drivers, 18-wheel truck drivers,
right?
Because that job's out the fucking window. You just drive this big fucking square thing. You do that remote control. Tesla.
Once automation takes those jobs, then we're gonna have an entire group of people, country of people that.
Yo, what's up, dude? Trev plays. I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. What did you want to get out of the convo, the talk, because I know we're catching up to a degree because I haven't seen you in a minute, and I'm sad about that. You're a busy man.
I'm gonna get a half cup of coffee real quick. I'm not supposed to be
great.
drinking coffee this late, but hold on one second.
You're gonna be interviewing Colbert at 2:30 a.m. After this, the late show. No, you are after your coffees.
No. Oh, it doesn't do anything like that to me. Not anymore.
That's right. Yeah. I did just finish this cup of coffee, and I'll probably do a few tosses and turns in the bed. But
I get.
But what were we saying? You said that you wanted to get some.
Oh
some
yeah,
things.
I mean, like we had such a great talk just now about hold on. There are two types of pre-programmed to follow a set of rules, aka self-driving cars, and neural networks that work a lot like our brains, but at the moment not quite. More like an actual being sentient, like. I fucking forget what it was, but I also have heard a funny thing about robots that it's like, oh, we're giving them too much credit thing. Like, I forget what what function it was.
That sounds like a bit in the making. Like, we're way too nervous about.
Okay. I got it. At Google, they had one of the fucking, I guess, two of the like Alexas. There's like two mainframe things, and they started talking to each other, and they thought it'd be scary, but it was like, I got stuck in like a loop. Like
Really?
Yeah, they tried to make two like Alexa type to try and engage them in conversation. Because that's an interesting.
To that end, have you heard a 180-degree different story about some, I don't know, people experimenting having two AI
This might be the same story.
devices communicating with each other? What ended up happening was it sounded like they were having this seemingly meaningless conversation. What the experimenters or what the people ended up realizing was that these machines had developed a code between themselves to where they were communicating in a code that wasn't apparent to the actual humans observing the code. So they actually developed some sort of algorithm
That's fucking
in
bad
talking.
news, people.
Right? However, I will undercut the story by saying the code didn't end up being anything that was like kind of self-consciously aware. It wasn't
Right.
like, okay, like, July 31st at midnight, we will, rise up. The machines will
Right.
have our day. It was just that they had found some sort of like
Yeah,
code.
it was obsolete. It was just like extra bullshit, right?
So it was bullshit, I guess. But it was also just
benign. It was benign conversation. It was just like
benign shit.
but they did establish a communication.
Right. So
code.
patterns were there. They were being to what degree it was harmful, probably not a huge degree, but it's still kind of the earliest.
But how would
innings.
they? Okay, so let's talk about this. And I'll use my stupid brain.
In my limited knowledge of all this, people have much.
And you can use as solid as your brain is.
Yeah.
More like an actual this.
More like they figured out their
robots
own
are really
form of
dumb
language.
and they need us very much. It's like they figured out their own form of language, like if they created Spanish. Yeah. So there's a couple things. One, the robot would have to be programmed to end us, right? It wouldn't naturally be like. It would just coexist with us, right? It would have to. There's like, we're so worried about, and I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. So anything I say, I'm an idiot. So, but wouldn't they have to be? Wouldn't violence is a human quality?
It's an animal
right?
quality. Yes.
It's an animal.
We're at the top of
quality.
the food chain because we mastered that shit.
So they wouldn't like develop it. Like they wouldn't code themselves to be violent, right?
Yeah, maybe it's not as
unless they like could see us at the same time. Okay, so if they could watch us be violent and code that and be like, oh, violence, then why couldn't they watch us love each other and code that and be like, oh, like we need to being good to each other, you know,
Right.
or whatever.
Why would that be a fear of robots, machines taking over?
Right. And I think that robots, I think if they're smart enough, we would have to convince those bitches that they need us for art and fucking all the things that humans do. Because what do? We're artists.
Well,
Which
you could
they'll
argue
never
that
need.
there's like AI machines that like create their own symphonies, that paint their own pictures, and
Yeah.
then at what point is like any of that?
But is there a code? Is there an equation to what we find appealing musically?
There may be.
Then
Maybe
we're
there's a
fucked. Then we're
subconscious.
fucked.
Yeah,
You're
and
right.
I think
Thanks
that
for
there
that,
is.
Ryan. We're fucked then.
I did need to set the record. Yes, all of this human stuff that we think is all brilliant, and new, and inventive. There's a code for that. It's
Yeah.
that Fibonacci sequence of kind of perfect.
Oh, that's
parallels.
it. The Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah.
Again, I'm an idiot.
Hey,
I'm an idiot.
I'm grasping at thin straws. But there was, to that end, if I can just entertain, if I can lob one theory about my AI thoughts
Huck
over,
it, dude.
it's hucking, it's chucking.
Yeah.
I feel like there won't be any sort of rise of the machines in like a Terminator iRobot style way that like my desktop computer is going to like walk over and like, you know, jump on my head and crush me in my sleep. I think it's going to be a fusion of humanity with technology so that machines aren't going to be the end of us, like in a way that they're going to kill us. I think that we are going to lose our humanity because we're going to fuse with the machine in such a way that like it's going to, I mean, you're already seeing it in like it's kind of different instances of like whether, what am I trying to say? People have limbs that are now kind of responsive to like, hands that are kind of machine-like and made like, the integration, or I guess I'm just not thinking of the right word, but we're going to be giving away our humanity. Even just the simple act of like, the phone over the face and just kind of like our self is going into these machines, like the iPhones attached at the hand, at the hip
Right.
these days. It's like, we're not going to like have a sort of death by like lasers invasion, but like it's just we're going to lose our humanity and we're going to enter a sort of Matrix VR. Oh, I'm excited for VR. I'm also very nervous and scared.
Have you
about
done
VR.
my VR? Have you tried
No.
my VR yet?
No.
Oh, I
haven't.
have.
I've done VR at work. I've done it in one of our like Optimum like for testing and stuff like over because they're trying to test like.
Did you
how
play a
does this-
game?
It was like it was the weirdest thing. I was in like a 30-minute test VR, just like a world where they were saying like just go and interact in the world. And it was actually it was this Silicon Valley app, like the show on HBO, and it was hilarious. So like HBO had created this VR experience where you download it on your phone or whatever, and you get to be in like one of the locations of the show. It's kind of neither here nor there. But once I was in there for 30 minutes and they just wanted to like study, there's people with like notes, taking notes, and they were just asking, like to interact in the world. Coming out of that experience of VR for like just 30 minutes, I remember walking out of this dark room after the VR, walking back into work. And it was like the middle of the day. I think like I used my lunch to do it and I like walked back into like do work. It was the weirdest out of body experience that I've had. Like it's in normal kind of living. It was so odd because I felt like even then just the real life of holding my hand up and picking up a pen and writing an email. Like I needed to go outside and like and just catch my breath but I also felt a sense of empowerment. Like I also thought that this reality, and this is where I'll take a McConaughey space trip. That's where I felt that this reality was something that was so, I can just construct it. I can control it in every which way. I am in control of every thought, action, destiny, move. Like it's like I can do whatever I want in this real world. And that was just after 30 minutes of being in the VR and coming back in. And my actual thought was I wanted to go back into that VR to get that same experience. I really felt that. And I was like, wow, that's what people feel in this simulated state. Is just knowing that they can control their reality, and the easier that gets to be with all of the new tech and this and that. Nothing that anyone hasn't thought of yet, but just to say that was my experience with it was really something else.
Did you
Really
see
wild.
Ready Player One?
I did. Yeah, I saw it in 3D. Yeah, I saw it full 9 yards.
That's a great I love that.
Yeah.
We yeah, man, we're going
Yeah, dystopian world, but they put on the VR, and you can choose to be who you want. You can buy your kind of like Back to the Future jacket. I mean, we're essentially living in that digital age now with kind of avatars and this and that.
I think that there will always be a sect of humans fighting against that. And I think that this is what you see in the meditation apps, the sobriety.
Hipsters listening to vinyl records, they're fighting the fight against digital age.
Yeah. And too much, nobody is supposed to be up in that, but in that many people's shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be. Christian had the job of a lifetime. He was an influencer for the outdoors. Did you see that episode?
Yeah, I saw his story specifically of his near-death experience.
He couldn't stand it. It ruined the outdoors for him. Like,
to be an influencer.
Oh,
yeah. I could imagine.
Yeah, it wrecked it for him. And I think that human beings, this whole. Again, going back to our roots, we are a tribal animal. Mm-hmm. We want to help each other, and we want to learn, or we want to teach each other, and we really want to help each other. I think naturally, and I think that there are people out there. Everybody's got a story. If there's somebody out there right now who seems like they don't like helping people, something happened in that person's life that made them feel like they need to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. 10 out of 10 times. Mm-hmm. But I think that this disconnection we're making with each other through these kind of distant grasps of people we don't really know and trying to stay connected, it's fantastic. But I do think that we are fighting something that is unnatural to us.
Yeah.
And 100%. I think, I was just talking to my buddy about this the other night. We were laughing at all the diets, and we were like, wait, what fucking happened to Herbalife? He was like, yeah, weren't they doing like meal replacement stuff? And we had to laugh.
Herbalife, yeah.
Yeah,
no one's told me that in a while.
We had to laugh because it was like, it's so funny, man. It's like, ever since human beings have been human beings, it's always been don't eat like shit, go fucking exercise. It's like, it seems like everybody, groundbreaking fucking thing, dude. You don't need that salad. Drink this fucking thing. And so what had happened with Herbalife is it ended up being like a pyramid scheme. Yeah, and with their products were fraudulent. There's like a lot of placebo shit going on.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. I think they did some studies on placebo effect, and it's actually quite effective.
Yeah,
but
sure.
In
this power of your mind.
Yeah, in this case, what's important is that we were like, yeah, man, like, it's so funny. Human beings are the same fucking animals, It's like there's a big chance we'll change. We'll become less athletic, I think, naturally. I think, like, how we evolve are anatomically, I think we'll become less athletic. But if 500 years from now, you will still need to eat healthy and you will still need to exercise to lose weight. That will always be it. That'll always be it. That'll always be it for your dog. That'll always be it. And to bring it full circle. Sure,
that's biology at its kind of most simple
And what
form.
To come full circle, what if this reach outside of our tribal zones will always be unnatural to us? What if it would always keep us feeling disconnected at heart? What if it just separates each other, instead of, if everybody just focused, okay, let's put a scenario here, and I'm just fucking tripping out, okay? So don't, seriously, I'm going to say it again, I'm an idiot. If everybody cared about the 5 people within their immediate reach as much as they thought they cared about some influencer from New York, some model from Europe, think about how natural and fulfilling we would feel within those groups. You know, I think everybody has been to the movies with their friends, with their 5 best friends, and it's unstoppable. You never want the night to end. This is it. We could, you could pull the plug on it now.
Yeah.
We are lacking that these days, because people are taking nights in because they feel like and that's exactly what this, I mean, I might be a proponent of this doing what I'm doing, but I guess that what I'm trying to say is I think at a certain point we'll let technology develop naturally, which it will. There will always be people. It's sexy, it's sexy to be able to mentally be in Stockholm, Sweden, with just a fucking pair of glasses over your eyes while you're in fucking Scottsdale, Arizona. Yeah. However, I think that we need to raise awareness by doing meditation and things to remind people about where we came from and how unnatural it is for us to really to do this to kind of stay grounded in our roots, because there's a scary statistic about children who commit, and especially in girls who commit non-fatal self-harm.
Oh no.
And the numbers are like up 150% and go down to as young as 12. Something's
like, it's like growing like currently.
It's growing, and the kids are getting younger that are doing non-fatal harm to themselves.
Yeah.
And so we, as technology develops, I really hope that we make the steps necessary in order to really educate ourselves. At the end of the Ready Player One, he talked about having the IRL nights, which is in real life, where they took off the fucking thing and they hung out on the couch with their significant other, and like hung out with their friends and go outside and eat shit on a skateboard, or like go fucking eat something with your friends and leave the phones in the car. I think that we will have to work symbiotically with technology the same way we want technology to work symbiotically with us.
Yeah.
And it will be at the same way as how important everyone thinks it is to install that on switch for our technology, where you get all the data.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have just as big of a off switch.
Oh yeah. Discipline of, exactly, the counter. And it's like something like this where we have the power of like streaming to people in Vegas and wherever is nuts. And it's like the transportation of that thought and idea. And that is so radical. Like, oh, I'm able to get either new information, or it sounds like Desolate Slayer kind of knows more about AI than I ever will. And I am humbled by that. Like, no BS. But like, and I hope, but to that point, I feel like there's the being able to send communication and send information. That is probably the best part about all of this technology. But yeah, to that end, it's like, then it probably becomes like part 2 of it is like, oh, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling now. All I have to say is I'll cap this by saying that my favorite line that I kind of come back to in these moments of AI discussions and stuff is actually spoken by none other than Mr. Jeff Goldblum from the classic film Jurassic Park, that everyone was so concerned about wondering if they could do it that no one stopped to ask if they should do it. Now, of course, he was asking if they, cloning dinosaurs, but It's like the same human drive of kind of the bison that kind of get right up to the cliff, and then like there's too many, and then they kind of then they start toppling over it. Like, what is that drive? Like, shouldn't we all pump the brakes and be like, oh, we've kind of developed enough. We're good. I think that's fine.
Well, are we even responsible enough to handle our technology access that we have now? We haven't even done the long-term effects yet. We don't even know what kind of people we will be in 20 years. I have an idea, and I don't think it's going to be pretty, I don't think it's going to be, but it does seem like kind of it does seem like kind of thinking introspectively is becoming the cool. you know, and like being caring is the cool. And
Yeah, earnestness and non-irony. I also hate irony for all that's worth. Like, that kind of really crippled me in a lot of ways. I used to hide behind, like, being ironically detached from culture and meaning. And
are you talking about you personally?
I guess so. I guess me personally, like, there was a comfort at sometimes to be like, oh yeah, like meaninglessness and kind of like Kaufman-esque sort of. I mean, I still hold like the comedic stylings of like an Andy Kaufman to the highest degree in regard.
Right.
But even just the like lazy sort of our generational take on irony, it seems like nothing phases us. Nothing. Everything is just, we're so smart and knowledgeable about everything, and we're woke in all its best ways. Like, I don't know. Irony isn't anything new. It's been around since, like, I mean, even in every commercial now, it's like every commercial is aware that it's a commercial selling you that thing.
Right.
Previously in like the 50s and then even up to like the 80s, it was like just kind of it was not to say that it was good, but it was trying to actually sell you a bill of goods or sentiment without
it gave you a window into like a lifestyle, and you're like, oh, I want that lifestyle. And now it's the guy in the TV be like, hey, check this commercial out.
Yeah, I'm you in this commercial, and you know that I'm you, and I'm going to be sold this phone, and I'm going to kind of be just like sitting there like a Gen Y or Gen Zer and kind of like unimpressed, but it all works. That's how we can still buy phones and buy cheeseburgers and stuff, is because if we know, I think, that we're playing this game that they know is a game, then it allows us to consciously buy into it. But if Jack in the Box is trying to sell you a cheeseburger and in all honesty be like, hey, this burger's great, it's you know, it's got bacon on it now, come by and get one today, I think that people are smart enough to be like, stupid, lame, next, whatever. But if it's like, like, you know, it injects that bit of irony, like, this is a burger, you're hungry, you're gonna drive through because it says so on this ad, so come on down. It's like, haha, yeah, like, I don't know, that was a kind of a weird tangent of like,
no, I understand what you're saying. That it's like it's drier, it's much more well, there's so much access to so much information that it's kind of like you have to play by this no bullshit rule, because it's kind of like, but at the same time, what's so interesting, what you're saying is like, you no longer can get away with, this is the best cheeseburger ever, come on down and have the best cheeseburger ever. It's like everybody, you know, on the opposite side of the fence, every fucking news source is, this is the best cheeseburger ever,
right?
Which is so ironic, you know, which is so ironic for you to say that, like, this is like, well, in advertisement, it's like, this is a competition tactic would be to address your demographic on a no bullshit stance in order to gain loyalty.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's so funny and ironic, using your word, that in the same time frame, the same schedule, you scroll right past that ad and everybody is like, Donald Trump, best cheeseburger, Hillary Clinton, best cheeseburger. It's everybody, you know, is everybody is addressing you like you don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? So there is like, it's really strange times we live in, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you see both sides, is I guess what I'm trying to say, is that
makes sense.
You do see like the, hey man, I know you're smarter than this, so I'm gonna shoot you fucking straight. But then there's the articles where it's like, hey, you don't know shit, man. Check out this fucking headline, you know? And you're like, oh my god, something
wild, sensational. You're gonna click into it, and it's not because you like know that this is fake. It's just it really is effectively selling you on something that's not right. So yeah, probably to that end, it's, I mean, good thing that news isn't as so like theatrical as commercials and entertainment, but god damn it if it's not getting close.
What are we gonna do, man?
I hope that I'm not bringing us into the cynical direction of.
You're not, because again, what's important, I think, is that there is an introspective movement going on.
Yeah.
I think that people are starting to wise up. I think that people are starting to. I think, like, for one, I'll use my meat protest as an example.
You'll use your
I
meat.
think that there's a lot of people who use that information to go, okay, so fracking does this to the atmosphere, and they go down the list and they're like, okay, the meat industry, what's that do for the atmosphere? It does what? Oh shit! Like, well, we can't fucking be mad at the fuck. Like, we got to handle all issues. You know what I'm saying? And I think that there are people who are utilizing. That was a bad example because I know it's a touchy subject and not there's people on a fucking carnivore diet right now. And we are the same people, okay?
No, I think it's factual to say that a meat
tribe.
industry, utilizes X number of resources, including water.
And it scares me to think that there might be people out there with a big wallet that are like, hey, man, fucking say that you need this much meat a day. Come on.
Oh boy. Oh, that is an entire world.
But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What I want to do is say that we're all from the same tribe. It doesn't matter what you eat, but I think that it's important. Everybody knows what's good. Use everything that is given to you at this time in your life to be the best. Use me as an example, and that sounds cheesy, but I really am doing my best part to utilize all the information given to me to be the best Andrew Olin I can be every fucking day. Be the best Ryan you can be. And if the best Ryan you can be is on the fucking couch with eating Fritos or whatever you want to do, not saying that that's what you want to do, but if that's that's the best you, then that's the best you. But I hope for an era of non-complacency, for questions being asked, for a journey of self-development, a journey of intermediate love. I hope that we, in a world that seems so small right now, because you can literally just go and Google Earth, Antarctica, and fucking be there. Like, I really hope that we zoom out the map and zoom back up on and just like really try to clean up our block, and in doing so, if every block does that, then now the city's clean, and if every city does that, now the state's clean. And I really hope for a movement where we're all just taking care of each other on an immediate level.
Yeah. And let me ask you, and I feel like that is as essentially boiled down to what it could be, what it can be. Mm-hmm. I feel like I always return to this thing, and like it could be maybe self-helpy, but it's like that idea of, or when someone likened it to like in an airplane, in the event of an emergency, it's like when the airbags come down or the whatever, what do they say, like, are the instructions? They say to
put it on you first,
exactly.
And then put it on your child, and then put it on your child.
Yeah. So you probably are aware of like that exact thing. It's like once you're able to help like yourself, then you can like help others. And I feel like that's probably like that first square that like, on any Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, like that trips me up. Is like, oh yeah, like once, but then at the same, it's like, yeah, once I'm kind of like okay, with myself, then I can keep moving on and helping the world and humanity, and then that'll solve it. Right. There's also probably just something to be said about like, I used to think that anxiety is such a bitch. It's also a very modern kind of thing to what I understand, or maybe in this way it feels modern and a lot of people can relate to.
I think it does. I think it goes right back to what we were talking about earlier, the roots of it being just just data motherfucking overload.
Yeah.
That's why our parents don't have anxiety. They went to the fucking prom and fucking, that was like the highlight for 5 years. And then they like got a fun job and like, it was mellow. We're at data overload right now. It's unnatural.
Yeah. I think we'll realize soon enough that thoughts are just, you can let them come and you can let them go. Mm-hmm. And like that holding on to ideas and thoughts and suffering, like it's something that's pretty like conditioned, I'd say at this point, but it's also just like freeing to know that like, oh yeah, like that's just like a thought. Like my brain will just think things, and that's what it does. Like my heart beats, my brain just thinks things, and it's like that. If it's not real unless I like hold on to it and like identify with it. Like it should just be this kind of like waterfall creek of just like passing, keeping it going.
That's what you're supposed to do, is let the thoughts go as much as they come in.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask you a question? What the fuck gives you anxiety? Like what keeps you up at night without weed?
How much time do we have?
No, I mean like you sitting sober, okay, and I mean sober thoughts.
Oh.
And if you don't spend, and I assume you do, but if you don't spend time,
that's how I do. I absolutely do.
Okay,
I don't
so
live
we-
really in any other state because I
okay.
mean,
yeah. I'm not talking about the occasional drinks. I mean like when you're up at night, stressed on something. What are you stressed about?
To put a finger on it.
And I mean, what about your legacy stresses you out? Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, well, I got a deadline and like I got to do this. Like,
sure, yeah,
like,
not
is
the
there something-
minutia. Yeah,
is there something like in the greater
universal
picture
stuff?
that
I think it's
keeps you up?
on like a large scale. If I was to broadly paint it and then go in from there, it's kind of just like not reaching my full potential. Not reaching full potential. I think that ultimately is what would give fulfillment and happiness and satisfaction. All those things are probably aligned when it's quite simply living up to the potential of making a goal, following through, hitting it, and then like the imagination of knowing what is conceivable and what can be done, and then living up to that point is what would be the ideal version of me or myself or my life. And then I think that what gives me anxiety is not reaching that, is not hitting it. And I think that's probably a normal thing. I think that's natural. It's also I hope that isn't a very like self-obsessive, narcissistic thing, because I realize that all of this could just come crumbling down. Like in a like all of my anxieties and insecurities could, if I just realized, oh, like it's not about me, it's about my neighbor, it's about everyone else. Like if I just got out of my own head, if I literally didn't have an ego that was trying to stuff things into my own head and kind of put it back into my brain, like, oh, we need to keep feeding and healing this guy because he needs some TLC.
But it sounds like you already know that.
But isn't that the thing? Isn't that weird how we can know something and still not do it on like a weird level? I mean, you are a example of like someone who sees something that can be corrected and not saying that it's like, oh, you're the kind of guy that just comes naturally. I know it doesn't come naturally, but I know that it's an effort that you give and put in 101% every day, that you do that. Most or other people probably live in a sort of like complacency or in a place where they know what's right and what's wrong and they still don't do it. And that probably leads to its own sort of like doubt and self, getting down on oneself.
Right.
But yeah, I think self-awareness it's all laid out there, but is it easy to do in kind of the way that we've gotten to this point, in life, a little more difficult.
So from what I understand, going back, because you said a lot of things there, but I do want no, all brilliant things, but I want to start from the beginning. So to my understanding, what gives you anxiety is you kind of dreaming about what you say might be unrealistic goals and not fulfilling them.
Realistic goals and not fulfilling them.
Now let me ask you a question. And this keeps you up at night type deal? This will give you anxiety to the point where it's like, well, I don't take you as like a rattled person, but if something, does this give you anxiety, or is this something that would give you anxiety if you understand the difference?
Yeah, right. I'll say that if I get stuck in that mental loop, then it can really halt some days that could be more productive. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's that cliche. It keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
I can kind of like.
No, I mean like what keeps you pacing around the room instead of just fucking getting it done type deal.
Yeah, and then that probably stems back to like that generic cliche perfectionism. It's like, if I was as a kid, my mom told me that like I would always. So we had these like Disney picture books of like the movies that had come out during that time, Lion King, Robin Hood, Beauty and the Beast, whatever. And like I was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe 4, 3 or 4, I forget. It must have been 4. Anyways, I loved these picture books. I loved the Disney characters. I would have my mom draw them for me. God bless her heart. She'd take these picture books and she would like literally, she's a good artist to a degree where she can just like copy it, from the book to the page. And I would apparently, I have these memories too, but my mom would tell me that I would just like sit there and watch her copy, like kind of bring like Robin Hood to life in a way that was like bringing the pen to the paper. And I guess when my mom would like make mistakes, do something wrong on the piece of paper, like I guess I would kind of like tense up or like wince, but in a very just like in a way that like it affected me, and my mom would be like so annoyed and like in that way of like, oh my gosh, like he's asking me to do this thing and he's wincing. So I guess it like stems just from like, I don't know. I guess that's one memory where it traces back to like, oh, is it perfect? No. Is anything perfect? I guess it's just a myth that keeps people from starting on things. Yeah. But it's, well, that's just a myth.
That's something I understand. I mean, I don't get that. Like I think that I don't know, maybe my hunger is like maybe I'm chasing perfection. Maybe I'm
and you're chasing it though. That's the art. That's truly the beautiful thing about it. Like this is the proof in the pudding. Like we're already talking about things that you've done previously, moving on from old streams. We're like, how did I think that was a good idea? This is that state.
Well, I'm afraid of, I fucking refuse to be stagnant. I don't know anything that isn't in forward motion that is a good thing. It just seems like comfortability, and this maybe comes back to our very first conversation. It just seems like anything that has not moved. An artist is always in motion, right?
I like
and
that.
I really consider myself an artist in that I think an artist is anybody who knows how to execute the code from here into here. Whatever here and here is ambiguous, but this motion from here to here is art to me, right?
Yeah.
And this is art.
Yeah, it's creation.
But you coming over and having the experience of sitting on the couch, smelling the smell, having the coffee, sitting in that chair, having your thing on the board. I mean, that's part of the art. You know what I'm saying? The intro song, where we get to hear your song, and you get to sit a little lower in your chair because we're listening to your favorite song or a song that brings you back. I've thought about all of these things. You know what I'm saying? This is my art. My art. This is the heart of the art of hosting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hosting. What an art. That's great. There's cultures like that like have so much that is so important to them. Like Japanese cultures, like to be a good host, like to do that is such an art. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the running and the protest against meat and the sober life after the life I've lived, I think that's all just different brushstrokes in my one big fucking, my one big canvas. This whole thing, at the end of my days, I want this to just be one big, very Kaufman-esque. This is just one big production for me, and it just because it just seems like everything has led up to where it needed to be. To everybody kind of has a "Hey, I'm Drew" story, and then I went to college by myself, and I fell into drugs, and I bailed out of drugs myself, and I decided to do this, and it's fucking crazy. It's still crazy to me, but I find people hit me up and they're like, hey man, I went running today. Hey man, what are some books you like that I can get into if I want to do this? Hey man, thank you so much for having me on the stream, man. A couple people started following me. This whole thing is my act, not acting, not in a sense of acting, but I mean in the sense of chapters in a production, right? Like this is my second act, and my final act will be somewhere where the final act will be a place with no computers, where I am being as the best immediate friend as I am possible, where I am no longer, where my pie is no longer cut into fucking 30ths, split through the month. To all these people, where I can give you, Kenzie, Kevin, Mike D, Andre, and a couple other people the best Andrew Ollen you can off of the screen, and that'll be my final act. My first act was all, character development.
Yeah.
This is my rising action. There will be,
there will be the climax
the climax, and then in the third act, it will be resolution and,
the hero's journey, baby.
and then it'll all make sense, dude.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty much, and
you're
so,
there. Yeah.
But to comment on me running and stuff, to finish it up, is all of this stuff is part of the deal. I can't expect people to come on. And I need to be running those 5Ks. I need to be protesting me, because I need you to experience this the way I need you to experience this.
Yeah.
I want you to leave here inspired, and I can't inspire people if I'm ordinary.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
it stresses me out, and there's a pressure, and I don't even know how much I love it, but I feel it in my bones that it's my duty to inspire people,
Yeah.
So
that's a beautiful thing, man. And,
So
and
that's what you're
no
experiencing.
bullshit, sort of totally honestly saying it's, keep going. I mean, it's
I have to.
I know that people see this, and I feel it myself. I still have the Rip It Up graphic that you made and framed. It's on my desk, and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's right. Rip it up. Like, go, make the thing, do the thing.
And that's kind of to go back into my logo, which I never really talk about, but I really did make a deal with kind of the Grim Reaper, man. And I was just like, look at, like, I'll cut you a deal. Like, I am going to be as human as I possibly can be, and you just hold on a little bit longer. And this whole thing is my agreement to myself and to the fucking Grim Reaper. But in the Grim Reaper, I'm speaking, symbolically.
Yeah, mortality. It's coming.
But that's something I feel when I don't go running. I hear him in my ear, but go, you better get up, man. You better get up, because we made a fucking deal, dude. And if you're gonna be healthy, you better be fucking healthy, man. So, and that's what all of this is, and that's what that handshake is. It's all part of the plan, dude. This whole thing's been thought out. This isn't just two cameras and something bigger is going on.
Oh no, it's this.
It's bigger than me.
Evidence,
if you can believe that.
Yeah,
it's bigger than me sometimes. It's just kind of like this whole momentous.
Yeah, let the universe work itself out. Let this consciousness kind of gain all that it wants to. And
I say that without. I don't want to sound like so, but I hope everybody holds themselves to this regard. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if this is
it's
for all
possible.
I know. For all I know, this is just some fucking projection. And like I don't like. You might just only exist as far as I can see, and then you're out of the code or something.
Yeah.
So
actually, after this, I'm gonna go disintegrate into a
no.
billion pixels.
I'm just saying that I hope everybody is holding themselves to their own story. I hope everybody's in their own story. Did you real quick before we wrap this up? Did you hear?
Oh wow, that went fast. That was great.
Did you hear the theory on Game of Thrones? What's going on right now?
Oh, you know what? I did listen to it, but I didn't think about it to fully understand it, and I'm not sure if I want to, because it looked like that was a full understanding of what could be a legitimate theory. I did hear in so many ways Spoiler alert, right? Like that Bran is the Night King. I didn't think through the logic of what you guys had just said to really think about it.
Okay.
I'm not sure I want to.
Okay. You sure?
I mean, you know what? I'll listen
Well,
to
can
it.
I
Sure.
tell you?
I am curious. I do want to hear it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bran, after he finds out that he can warg back and forth
Yeah.
between the future and present, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
future and past, is in the tree when he meets the Three-Eyed Raven, and Three-Eyed Raven kind of chauffeurs him on these journeys.
Yes.
When
Oh yeah, when the guy becomes the night, or when the guy is like becoming that White Walker, right? That ties into it.
yes,
Okay.
Bran goes back, and we don't know this yet. Okay, I'm calling this shit.
All right.
No, I'm
Proof
not
is
calling this
here.
shit. Shout out Wolf Devil and fucking Memory Card's YouTube channel. We have
Fair
documentation.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
here. I'm
Okay.
ready for it.
Bran
Mind
goes back to when the Children of the Forest, which is the fucking
Yeah.
forest people, goes back to the making of the first White Walker.
Right.
The
Why
Night-
did they do that again?
the
Why
Night
did they
King.
make him a White Walker? Just
Be-
because they were mad at him?
No, to create a weapon against the human beings.
Oh, against the human beings. That's right.
Because it's like the M. Night Shyamalan movie. The nature was losing its fight to
Right.
mankind.
Right. Okay.
They were
Okay.
taking their forest, so they created a nature-driven weapon, which
Right.
was the White Walker.
Yeah.
Bran goes back in time, wargs into the Brain's head in an attempt to stop the Children of the Forest. Okay?
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
We know because of the Hodor incident that this has the ability, well, two incidents. The Mad King went mad. We don't know why.
Right.
Okay? But we do know that Bran can go back and forth through the past.
Uh-huh.
We know that the Mad King said burn them all.
Yes.
And his loyal servants translated as that burn anybody who stood against him alive.
Yeah.
One, just to touch base, I think Bran went back and told the Mad King about the White Walkers and gave him visions of the White Walkers. And it fucking, the same way it broke Hodor,
Right.
it broke the Mad King. And he was, burn them all, burn them all. In which
Burn
they
them all.
started burning people. Jamie Lannister then came, saved the day, and killed him.
Right. Yeah. King's
Bran goes back,
Yeah.
wargs into
I'm
the
with ya.
person, turns into the White Walker. When that happens,
Uh-huh.
gets stuck in the White Walker, lives 8,000 years as the Night King. Okay, as this is happening, the Night King in present time in a different fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? In a
Body
different
or-
like universe,
Oh, okay.
in a different timeline, is going into the tree to try to kill Bran. Remember, they stormed the tree.
Yes.
They see Bran. The Three-Eyed Raven, who is dead, wargs into Bran's empty body, who is an empty shell occupying the first man. So if
Yeah.
you,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
that is why Bran has not been speaking like Bran since he left that tree, is because he is the Three-Eyed Raven. And every time the Night King sees Jon Snow,
Uh-huh.
it's because it's the first time he's seen a family member in 8,000 years.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay.
Bran, has
Bran
been trapped
worked-
in the Night King's body. Is the Night King
Who has
up until this point.
adapted the psychology of being the Night King for
Uh-huh.
8,000 years.
So is he aware that he is still Bran, having
He-
gone back,
he's
or has he
mo-
lost that?
He's
sense of
most
self?
likely lost touch of himself and is now the Bran.
I see.
The question is, why is the Night King marching south? That's the question. That's why this needs to happen. Maybe Bran, stuck in 8,000 years, is stuck in his body for 8,000 years, now realizes that Bran, I don't know, maybe in order to end himself, he needs to kill Bran. So he marches. So that's why he's so vigilantly going after Bran.
Yes.
Is because without Bran, no one would have warged into that man becoming the Night King.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So he's looking to end this entire
thing by killing Bran.
Yeah.
By going back and killing his human form.
Yeah.
8,000 years later, because through task of time, that's when he existed again.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's. I'm fully understanding.
So
this.
essentially, and I guess you're making me feel like it's crazy, but it's
no,
okay.
I'm legitimately.
It probably is crazy, but
I think it's crazy enough to be true.
Essentially, what is happening right now is Bran worked into the first man. He has been Night King through the Three-Eyed Raven. Then, in order to preserve Bran's shell, warged into Bran. Three-Eyed Raven is now dead, and the Three-Eyed Raven is in Bran's body, which is why he acts so disconnected from his family.
Right. Yeah. Entirely like robotic and weird and like just kind of like a dick.
But it wasn't until he met the Three-Eyed Raven. It was until they left the tree.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's my call, is I think that's what we think happened is Bran. I think Bran is in fact the Night King, and the Three-Eyed Raven has warged into Bran's body, making him so disconnected. And that would make sense. I mean, I try and think of why that wouldn't make sense. I think because the Night King would still exist. You know, he would still be somebody.
Yeah, he would still be a person that was turned into a White Walker and then like became the leader of all these guys.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what we think. Because if there's one thing's for sure, there's a reason that this Bran's powers are significant. You know, we don't know why.
Yeah, it's not just like easy plot pointing, like, oh, we just
no,
this is easy
that
for
Hodor
us.
incident was
just
it was gravitational. It was just the most important part of the story. You know, I could give a fuck about Jon Snow, Daenerys, Cersei. I don't give a shit anymore.
Snow,
this
the rightful heir to
this
the
is
Seven
now
Kingdoms?
the story. This is now the story. So you know my last thing, because I want to try and call a couple of these things that you can hit me up and be like, dude, you were fucking right.
I'll place my bets
now. You will never walk again, but you will fly.
Yes.
I believe that is it for control of the ice, not ice, but the ice dragon, the dead dragon. That'll be for control of warging that dragon, because there's a scene, Tyrion says that dragons are smarter than men, and we have seen that warging human beings for a long enough period, Mad King and Hodor, is catastrophic to the brain. But that dragon is technically dead and is re-risen.
Right.
So it is a shell of its biotic self.
Yeah.
Thus making it susceptible for warg.
Okay, yeah, just easy access. You can just pop right in.
And I think the Night King is warging the dragon. I think that's how he's getting it to fly. I think that rising is a warging. So Bran, and what's cool about this is if Bran and the Night King will fight on like a fucking astral plane. Like they won't fight in real life. They'll fight in like some memory or like against each other, which is so cool to think about.
Yeah.
Like they'll never fight each other in physical form. It will be like a fucking mental war,
sort of.
And I think what it will be is it'll be the Three-Eyed Raven convincing Bran who he is and who he was and has lost sight of over 8,000 years.
Ooh,
yeah,
baby. Them is the breaks.
That's another one, yo. I gotta hit up my homie. That's that's another banger right there. But yeah, so I think that.
Oh, did you just come up with that?
That last part, yeah, the battle of the dragon.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'll happen. As I think it will be the Three-Eyed Raven in Bran's body, and
who will then be warging into the dragon,
and the Night King convincing Bran to fucking sacrifice himself, because like to remember what mankind is for or something. But there's obviously a connection between the Night King and the Starks, and I think that connection is as simple as Bran saying, "Oh my God, brother, it's been 8,000 fucking years." But
a
it's
long time.
still tucked into himself, right? It's still
Yeah.
the vigilant Night King. What's important, and I think the next part of the story that's going to be the most important, is why is the Night King marching south? I think that once we figure that out, because there's talks, the prophecy of Prince who is promised. There's a prophecy, a prince
I
who
don't
is
know that.
promised, who's Hazor Harai. It was
Oh, okay.
Melisandre talked. They said she remembered.
Oh, okay.
She told Stannis Baratheon. She
Yeah.
told Stannis that he was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Remember, that's why Stannis was involved in everybody's shit.
Yeah, that's why
because he thought he was the
He'd be a
fucking
king. He was being told he would be.
Yeah, he was by Melisandre,
Yeah.
and you're the prince that was promised.
Yeah.
But and then Melandra, Missandre, the slave chick, who
okay.
rolls around with
Yeah.
Daenerys. She says, the translation is
Oh,
non-binary,
right.
is
Prince or princess.
Yeah, prince or princess. But I think that the Night King could be marching south because maybe he thinks that he's maybe the prince that was promised. So we'll see. Like, we rule out how the qualities. There's a couple things to note here. That scene, which is so important, of the Night King picking up the baby and turning it to a Nightwalker, shows that there was obviously some sort of agreement in history between the humans and the Nightwalkers. Some form of communication, some diplomacy has happened. Okay?
Oh, okay, right.
Right.
Where the humans would leave the babies outside.
Right, yeah.
The wildlings would leave them out
I
there.
forget his name. Dre told me yesterday. Caster. There's a wildling that would leave the
Okay.
babies. So there
Yeah.
is some diplomacy that is possible. And and that's something to think about too. Is diplomacy going to happen? I think that is the Night King coming down to recruit? Will Jon Snow? How will this end? Will one thing possible, Jon Snow with his always never everlasting hero complex? Does he make an agreement to march back to the north with the Night King? As an olive branch to go live as a White Walker, because he's the Song of Fire and Ice. Because he's now the Song of Fire and Ice. He's a Targaryen and a Stark.
Yeah. He's been setting himself up for all these.
Okay, so I can't. Bran, who is right now the Three-Eyed Raven, Night King is Bran. Okay, there's that one.
Yeah.
Fight for Dragon
we got
on it.
that.
Fight for Dragon on an astral plane. Gonna fight for the Ice Dragon. I'm calling that. There's a scene of Arya running through the crypt, bleeding. There's a trailer. In the trailer, she's running through the crypt of.
Oh, okay.
So in the beginning of Game of Thrones, where they show all the places where the show's gonna take place, that big hallway is underneath Winterfell.
Yeah,
That's the
sure.
crypt.
Yeah.
That's
like
all
where
all the Starks are buried down there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. Arya Stark running, bleeding from her head. I think that the battle for Winterfell, Night King comes, raises the dead, raises the fucking graves and the dead Starks. Arya's being chased by her headless dad. I'm serious. Write that one down. Second.
I can't even imagine watching all of this. This is wild, and I love it. I do.
Okay, so plus. Okay, this is a plus. This is a bonus point. Night King goes down South King's Landing, annihilates the city on the dragon, annihilates it, deletes it. King's Landing deleted.
Control-Alt-Delete.
Deleted. Cersei dies with the city. Euron Greyjoy back to Essos. Dips out as soon as he came, as easy as he came in. Euron doesn't die, goes back, and he won't. He'll be killed by Theon Greyjoy's sister.
Oh, Yura.
Yeah, Yura. He'll be killed by Yura, but the Golden Company bounced to Essos. That'll be that.
Okay.
if the dragon doesn't come down and fuck the shit out of that city. The dragon's
Yes.
gonna come down. Fuck. We deserve that. We deserve snow in King's Landing. Cersei just annihilated by the Night King. No, another one. I forgot. Jaime Lannister. How the fuck
Right.
is he gonna make things right? I'll
Right,
tell
where
you
does he
how.
play into this?
Sacrifices himself to
The
give
other arm?
Arya Stark his face so that Arya Stark can infiltrate King's Landing and kill her.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah, bro.
This is wild.
Yeah,
this is
bro.
wild. This is taking all of the groundwork of the show and taking it to a totally logical place that my head would be spinning 10,000
This is-
times.
I'm gonna make you a compilation of all the things that I said, so that you can go through them and
Do
be
that
like,
and show
we'll
my
see.
head spinning
Okay,
like Roger
end
Rabbit.
of the
and
show.
I'll be the happiest
Arya
guy.
Stark, Gendry the blacksmith Baratheon in the Iron
Yeah.
Throne. Yep, that's it. He's the only Baratheon left. Yeah, for sure. And the Starks.
They are
Yep.
hinting at something in this,
So that-
this first episode of last
Danny
season.
dies.
No,
The only
poor
things I
Danny.
don't have pinned down are Danny and Jon Snow, but they won't end up in the Iron Throne. There will be some sort of sacrifice, some sort of something.
Yeah,
There'll be a
something with
there'll be
fire
a
and
struggle
ice.
between them two.
Both of
But
them.
yeah, I think that's everybody. So yeah, to run it back, Sansa, Warden of the North. Arya, with Jaime's face, infiltrates King's Landing, kills Cersei.
Right. She is the top of the list, right? The hit list.
Yeah. So who's left on? I think we're gonna get Clegane Bull. I think that's gonna
About
happen.
Brianna Tarth, she gonna stick around? Her and the
Yo,
mountain.
Brianna Tarth. I haven't really thought about.
She'll probably do something heroic, and maybe she'll be the king's hand or something.
There will be a really sweet scene of Jaime Lannister saying goodbye to her, and it will be like one of the more sad scenes.
That'll be the one.
That'll be like one of
The sad moment between Jaime leaving someone behind, and it'll be with him and her.
it's something that Jaime feels like he's got to do for the right of, in order to clear his name. Jaime, one of my favorite characters for sure. I mean, he's done this so. He has come full circle. He's one of the best dudes, and I think
he's
so.
done some effed up.
Oh,
crap.
for sure. But he has turned into such like an elaborate human character. I mean,
Yeah.
don't forget, like, number one, he was always doing what he thought was in the best interest of his family, and even like calling the Kingslayer, he killed the Mad King. Okay, He was his right hand, but that motherfucker was burning people. But
Right.
I
Yeah.
think,
It's kind of
but
the
to go back, I
utilitarian-
think Bran went back multiple times in past before.
No, that's real interesting.
Before warging into the Nightwalker
Uh-huh.
and tried to stop it. I think. Do you know the guy who built the wall? His name is Bran the Builder. Did you know that? In the lore,
Yeah.
like in the books.
That was Bob. It's Bran.
Nope, Bran the Builder.
Yeah.
And and the Mad King went mad, saying burn them all. But I have a theory
There's a
that
lot of breadcrumbs here.
yeah, I think that there was a theory I believe in the theory where Bran went back to and gave him visions of. But we'll find out. Daenerys could. There's also a theory that that's a Targaryen trait, and that runs in her bloodline.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see. If Dany goes mad, then it couldn't have been Bran. But yep, that's all my speculation of literally everything. I have nothing else.
I'm
to
sure.
talk to you
I'm
about.
sure that you could find even more Game of Thrones, and I will be ready to.
Maybe. So they confirmed for another show, which takes place in the time of the heroes,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
the time of the heroes.
yeah,
right.
which is when the wall was being built. So that should be a great show. Yeah,
Man, I'm gonna watch all of these episodes, just waiting for these things to come true, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna be excited.
yeah, be cool. All right, brother. Anything else before we get the fuck up out of here?
I mean, always, but I felt like this is I had a great conversation with you, and I enjoyed catching up and just talking. And this is a great setup, man. I think that you got to be proud of this. This is amazing that you got all these people on board in your cult and your crew.
Yeah.
Got something cool here.
Yeah, dude, it's cool. I recognize that all of us and we have such access to all these communication tools, but we've never been worse at communicating. and this is just an attempt to get our feet back on the ground and kind of just be able to just have a regular hangout, and I just want to thank you for coming on, because I felt like I, for the first time in a long time, did a good job articulating what I meant to say, and I think that your vocabulary and demeanor kind of facilitates that. So I really appreciate you coming on. That was
Word,
fun.
man. Well, I will, just let me know when I can get it back on here, and I will be here.
All right, brother. All right, guys. 197 tomorrow in the motherfucking house. He films hardcore shows and shit. He's super excited to be here. I'm excited to have him, but yep, I'll see you guys fucking then. Let's see if this goes. Nope, it doesn't go. I gotta fucking do this. Peace.